I know there's a lot of Knicks fans that are kind of torn between the picks, me included. I was torn between the Knicks pick. I wasn't sure. Like when the Knicks selected Obi Toppin, I wasn't high on the pick. I slept on it. I woke up because I was dreaming of Obi Toppin's highlight dunks at MSG. I was thinking about Emmanuel quickly hitting threes in Madison Square Garden. And I said, you know what? I like this pick a little bit more. And the reason I like this pick is that I didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, the Knicks couldn't have been at a better spot on draft night. The guys that they were linked to and wanted that had like Obi Toppin star potential, Tyrese Halliburton star potential, Denny had star potential. Devin Vassell was a guy who was linked to us. I thought at the 8th pick, our options were going to be Devin Vassell, Patrick Williams, Aaron Nesmith, and like an Isaac Okoro. I did not imagine that Tyrese, Obi, and Denny were going to be there when we were picking. So we could have went with any of those guys. Outside of Denny, I would have been happy. I didn't really want Denny, but if we could have, we got Obi or Halliburton, I would have been happy with either one, and we chose Obi. We needed a point guard, but the reason why I wasn't as mad when I woke up is because Emmanuel Quickley can be that point guard. Emmanuel Quickley shot, I think, 36% from 3 at Kentucky. He's a sharpshooter. So now we got a guy who can play point, who can shoot well, who's going to be good. And Obi Toppin is just a highlight reel. I mean, you said that Gordon Hayward might go to the Pacers, but let's just say he goes to the Knicks. Then you got a lineup of RJ, Hayward, Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, whoever we sign at point guard. I'd like a guy like Jeff Teague or trade for a George Hill to be a veteran on the team. But I think Obi Toppin brings a level of highlight reel and excitement to New York. And I feel like that's what New York needs. So at the 8th pick, I'm not mad. I mean, this is a guy who won College Player of the Year. He averaged 20 points per game. He can shoot, so he's not just a rim runner. I know he's been compared to Stoudemire, but he can shoot really well. He shot 39% from 3. So I'm more than happy with this pick. Now the Knicks just have to go into free agency and get a good free agent and not overpay for guys that we don't need to overpay for.
Yeah, and I think that I know you flip-flopped on this like multiple times on draft night, and I thought it was hilarious because from the time you made the pick, I thought it was the right selection. One word that you mentioned with LaMelo is box office, and Obi Toppin has the potential to be box office. He is explosive, can jump out the gym. He's a walking highlight reel, and while there are some glaring parts of his game that he needs to improve, he's got to get his shot more consistent.
Defensively, I think is the only glare.
Defense is bad.
But you know what's
no
the thing?
way to put it.
His defense is bad, but if there's one coach that I trust to get his defense good is Tom Thibodeau.
It's the perfect guy
exactly
to have him working under, and Obi Toppin is a hard worker, so he's got the physical traits to turn into a great defender, and he has the work ethic. Playing under Tom Thibodeau, it's the perfect storm for him to improve that defense. I mentioned this like 3 times on draft night because it still baffles me. He was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school. He went to Dayton and worked his way up from an unknown his freshman year to the College Player of the Year last year. So, he's going to come in and grind from day one, which I think is something the Knicks have been missing the past few years. I think that Leon Rose has done a terrific job since coming in, and he's got that Kentucky pipeline. And you mentioned Emmanuel Quickley, who I think is going to be a great player.
Johnny Bryan is on our coaching staff, too. He's from Kentucky, I believe.
Yeah, so you mentioned Emmanuel Quickley, I think, is going to be a great guy to come in and bring in a point guard. Kentucky guards are kind of hit and miss, but they've been more hit than miss lately. You look at some of the guys in the league right now. Eric Bledsoe, De'Aaron Fox, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Rondo, John Wall. Brandon Knight even had a pretty
Brandon Knight was
career.
pretty good early on.
Devin Booker, Hammy Diallo is looking like he's improving into a solid role player.
I would have mentioned him in that conversation. But
Tyler Hero, Malik Monk, Jamal Murray. So, they've had their fair share lately of good to great star-level NBA guards over the past couple of years. So Calipari's doing something right there. And even if they don't play great at the college level or they don't have the year that you might think they have, a lot of them have gone on to the league and had pretty solid starts to their career. That's why I was so high on Tyrese Maxey to Philadelphia. And I'll talk about that later in the episode, not to spoil anything. But I think Maxey or Emmanuel Quickley or both of them can be that next Kentucky guard to come into the league.
My only problem is that right now the Knicks have like mad fours on the roster. They have Ed Davis, Julius Randle's still there.
I'll say this about Ed Davis though. I think he was more of a salary dump. He was. And they got the picks for him.
Yeah,
so that was a solid move.
Yeah, he was. Julius Randle, who I hope gets traded. I hope he gets traded tomorrow. He better get traded soon. I want to
find somebody to take that contract.
Julius Randle is only a 1-year rental pretty much because a team has a team option. But then we have Bobby Portis, who we don't even have to bring him back anyway. Like, we let go of Taj Gibson, Damian Dotson, Elfrid Payton. Like, we have a lot of salary to play with. So at this point, it's really just about signing players to complement RJ and Mitch because I think Obi complements RJ and Mitch perfectly. Now it's just about those other guys complementing them. And then it's something that I was thinking about was usually teams, and usually the Knicks in recent history, they've always went with positional fit, right? I think this year was different. They went with the best player available. Obi Toppin was the best player available at number 8, and they went with him. I would have liked Tyrese Haliburton because we need a point guard, but I like that we went with the best player, and that was Obi Toppin. People were talking about him going as high as 3. Even number 1. Some people were having him at number 1. So, like, to get a guy like that at 8, that doesn't happen for the Knicks too often. Yeah, it doesn't at all. It never happens.
Exactly.
Outside of the year that we drafted Kevin Knox, Michael Porter Jr. fell to us, but we didn't draft him.
I remember that. But he had big injury concerns that year, too.
Yeah, we should have still drafted him.
Obi Toppin, like, there's no way, in my opinion, he should have fell to 8 just because of his potential. And I know the Knicks have had some trouble developing players the past few years, but I think that with this new regime coming in, they could flip it around, and they have a solid core. If Toppin was off the board, Haliburton would have definitely been the pick for you guys, in my opinion. But when a talent drops like that, you can't pass up on him. And the Knicks needed young talent, and they got that. And right now, you're looking at R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, and Mitchell Robinson can be your 3 guys to build around for the future. And still,
that's good.
As corny as it is to say, and it's something that I've kind of doubted the past few years, they play in the Mecca. They play in the Garden. And as much as you need to put players on the court to supplement that, guys aren't usually going to just come to play in New York for the Garden. Now they're starting to build some young core, something to be, interested
something to be excited about.
Yeah, something to be excited about. And they have the Mecca. Come play in the Mecca. Be the guy to bring a championship home for the first time since, we weren't even a thought. And that's a pretty exciting spot to be in. If I'm a big-time NBA free agent, I would definitely give it at least a second thought. And you're coming up on a couple free agency classes now where there's going to be stars available, and this could be the turnaround
next year.
Next year, it all depends on what is Tom Thibodeau going to do? Is he going to develop that young talent?
Yeah,
his coaching has been one of your biggest problems over the past few years.
I just think it all depends on who we get at point guard.
Yeah,
I like Frank Ntilikina off the bench.
Yeah,
not
I think he's
starting.
a great
starting.
Point guard off the bench.
Ntilikina off the bench is fine. Not to start. We need a starter. And I don't, is that Fred VanVleet? Is that Jeff Teague, George Hill, or Rondo maybe? I don't know. But we need a starting point guard that is a true point guard that can help all of these young guys be better on the floor. That's pretty much it. But the Knicks, so, back to it, I just think Obi Toppin was the right pick. Hey, what's up, guys? You just finished watching a clip of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran.
My name is Jack Barteck.
My name is River Brown.
And we are your hosts for this podcast. We want to thank you guys for watching the clip. Like, subscribe, and comment, and share if you would care to, because it helps us grow. We're trying to make this a full-time thing. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting, and see you next time.